Ух ты. Это как? Это уже наши глюки. Город под водой. И что нам делать? Куда нам идти? О, мы выплыли. Эх, ты чего ж красивый. Я прям не могу налюбоваться. И музыка красивая. Вот он, свет в конце туннеля. Уже ночь.
I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky. They charted their course, and I followed them for 21 minutes until they turned off near Sanford and were lost. If I were a gull, I would abandon my nest and join them. I would starve my brain of oxygen and suffer delusions of transcendence. I would tear the bottom from my boat and sail across the motorways until I reached this island once again.
Мы возвращаемся на берег. Все в свечках.
Dear Esther, I find each step harder and heavier. I drag Donnelly's corpse on my back across these rocks, and all I hear are his whispers of guilt, his reminders, his burnt letters, his neatly folded clothes. He tells me I was not drunk at all.
Что это? Компьютер какой-то? А это все его лекарства и радиостанция. Да, тяжело приходится. Это, видать, его дочь или жена. Вообще игра как фильм, я скажу. Потрясающе вообще.
There were chemical stains on the tarmac, the leak of air conditioning, brake fluid and petrol. He kept sniffing at his fingers as he sat by the roadside, waiting as if he couldn't quite understand or recognize their smell. He said he'd been traveling back from a sales conference in Exeter. He'd stopped for farewell drinks earlier, but had kept a careful eye on his intake. You could hear the sirens above the idling traffic.
Away from heaven. Что-то around him. То есть вдали от рая, вокруг него.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Ну, тут то же самое написано, что и что-то делают яйца, я не понимаю. Блять, крыша едет. Отсюда мы начинали. Или нет? По-моему, отсюда.
The pain in my legs sent me blind for a few minutes as I struggled up the cliff path. I swallowed another handful of painkillers, and now I feel almost lucid. The island around me has retreated to a hazed distance, whilst the moon appears to have descended into my palm to guide me. I can see a thick black line of infection reaching for my heart from the waistband of my trousers. Through the fugue, it's all the world like the path I have cut from the lowlands towards the aerial.
Короче, жрет он колеса как ненормальный от своей болезни, от заражения крови.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and casts parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Короче, испоганил он остров этот красивейший. Ну что сказать, человеку
If only
нечего
Donnelly
делать.
had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Все буквально исписал все скалы. Как он туда залез?
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
Видимо, мы сейчас туда, к антенне, направляемся. Я не ожидал, что так можно сделать из простого сорса. Проще говоря, игра про утопию. Человека, потерявшего смысл в жизни, всякую надежду.
He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. He had not drunk with Donnelly or spat Jakobsen back at the sea. He had not careered across the lost shores and terminal beaches of this nascent archipelago. He did not intend his bonnet to be crumpled like a spent tissue by the impact. His windscreen was not star-studded all over like a map of the heavens. His paintwork etched with circuit diagrams, strange fish to call the gulls away. The phosphorescence of the skid marks lighting the M5 all the way from Exeter to Damascus.
Вот это антенна.
I am the aerial. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We have always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help
Сейчас он,
will be
собственно,
sent.
суицид совершит. А нет, что? А. И что это за падение? Ух ты! Надо же, он превратился в птицу. А. Судя по тени. Собственно, такая игра, заставляющая думать. Это как фильм, я скажу. Я бы сказал так. Игра-фильм. Драматический. Такой сюжет. Ну вот, собственно, это все. Спасибо за просмотр. Кому понравилось, пишите в комментах, что понравилось, что не понравилось. Ставьте лайк. Вот. Всем всего хорошего. Пока.